Today we'll be taking a look at the Pacer Performance High 5 Truck Cab Light Kit. Now this is going to match the 2003 through 2004 Dodge truck lights that you would see up on the cab, and basically these are going to give you a better visibility if you're driving in inclement weather. It just helps other drivers to see your rig since it'll have those lights up at the top. Also just kind of gives you that cool big rig look, so it makes your truck look a little bit more rugged, a little bigger, and it's just also better for when you're towing a lot or pretty often and you want to have that extra visibility, especially in kind of foggy situations. You want to have as much visibility as you can without blinding other drivers or yourself in that foggy atmosphere. So it comes with our light housings, a grommet, the light socket, and amber bulbs, as you can kind of see on the inside. We'll also get a length of wire, a fuse, our rocker switch, some quick splice connectors, rubber O-rings, and the hardware to get everything tightened down onto our truck. Now keep in mind that you will have to make some holes in the top of your cab to get these installed. There's just no way around that. You're going to have to make 2 holes on either side for that hardware to drop down through, and then another hole for your wiring. Now this grommet is going to do a pretty good job of keeping out most water from seeping in underneath your light, especially if you get that nice and tightened down really securely. It should prevent pretty much anything from getting in there, but just to be doubly sure, I would get some silicone sealant to make sure that everything's going to stay nice and watertight. Put some at each of those screw holes just underneath there, and then another bead for where your wire goes through, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to even find a small grommet for that wire to pass through so it's not going against that sheet metal. You won't have any sharp edges to cut up against that and rub over time and cause you any issues with that. Those things are not included, no silicone sealant or a gasket for this. Those are just things that I would personally add if I was installing this on my Dodge truck. So we have options available. We've got silicone sealant here at etrailer.com. We have a lot of grommet options available. You just want to get something that's relatively small so you're not creating a big hole in there, but just something so those 2 little wires can pass through and then you don't have any issues. Now this is going to be the ground wire for your light. It doesn't come with any kind of self-tapper to get that ground connection made. It's a pretty short length of wire. Get out my ruler here. I think from the socket to the very end of that little ring terminal that's pre-installed, it's about 2 inches. So you'll have to find a spot to ground that out, usually a spot of good sheet metal. You can always use a factory screw, but there's probably not going to be one close enough for you to mount that to. You could always cut this off and extend it out to a more convenient factory screw. That's up to you, but just want to note that there, that they don't include any hardware for that ground connection, so you will have to pick up something on your own. It's a pretty small ring terminal. Say it has about an 1/8 inch diameter opening, so you'll want to find something that can fit into that 1/8 inch ring terminal. Like I said, it does come with a fuse so we can keep everything protected. Some of our customers did mention that they actually wired this into their running light circuit or their headlight circuit so that whenever they turn on their lights, all these come on automatically so they don't have to remember to flip this little switch. That's totally up to you. If you feel comfortable with that kind of an install and tapping into your factory wiring on your truck, I would say go right ahead. I think it's a really nice way to integrate everything so you don't have to remember to flip this on or off. So that's definitely an option for you. Our longer length of red wire, that's going to go to our battery source or our power source on our truck. So you'll need to run this either to your battery or a fuse block or whatever power source you have available on your truck. You might end up needing to extend this out. It just kind of depends on how you route it. Typically it's going to be routed along the headliner and then down the A-pillar, probably through the firewall and then into your engine bay. So you just always want to be careful whenever you're running any kind of wires. You don't want to have it against any kind of pinch points. If you have to remove some panels, which you probably will, to have to run that wire, you just want to make sure you keep that away from anything that's going to get pinched, any kind of cutting or scratching. You just always want to be careful with your wires. Now these sockets, they're kind of rubbery, so they're going to provide a good seal on the back of this light. Whenever you first get these, they don't have that little socket in place, so you will have to put that in there yourself. It's really not that difficult. You just need to give this a quarter turn, and then it'll pop out. You'll also need to put in your amber bulb. These are incandescent. It's a bulb type number 194, pretty common bulb type. So you'll have to put that in place, just kind of coax it in there, it just pushes down into place, and then pop that socket into place and turn it about a quarter. Turn to the right. I like that this is kind of flexible. It gives me a little bit of confidence that it's going to seal up that hole. Again, if you want to be extra double sure that nothing's going to get in there and cause any issues, you could always put a little silicone around that as well. Totally up to you. Not required necessarily. The other thing that I would recommend upgrading would be these quick splice connectors. Typically, in our experience, these just tend to fail over time, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to upgrade to an insulated butt connector or a heat shrink. Heat shrink gives you a watertight connection. This wiring connection should all be inside the cab, so you shouldn't really have to worry about any water there, but that's an option. We have butt connectors and heat shrinks here at etrailer.com if you want to pick those up. Now I have this one pretty much set up and ready to go, so I'm going to show you how bright it is whenever we connect it to our power and ground. So do my ground connection to the black wire, power to the red wire there, and I'll turn on my box. So you can see that's going to light up. Has that amber bulb in there to give it that amber color. And I'm going to go ahead and turn out the lights in the studio so you can get a better idea of how bright that will be in low light situations. So not terribly bright, but enough with all 5 that it should give you that extra visibility that you're looking for. Now there is a kit that's almost identical to this one, but instead of that incandescent bulb, it has an LED bulb. Like I said, everything else is the same, rocker switch, hardware, wiring, everything. Even the socket is the same, it just has a little LED panel that's going to fit right in there the same way as these bulbs, and it provides you a longer lasting light. You don't have to worry about getting in here and changing out that bulb whenever it goes bad, because with incandescents, it's just a matter of time. It's just how they're designed. They're going to eventually fail. That filament's going to break, and then you're going to have to remove this whole housing to get in there and change that bulb. So not ideal. Now that kit with the LED bulbs, it is sold here at etrailer.com. It is sold separately. It's a whole kit, and that's going to be part number PP20-247C. Same thing, same design. It's going to fit the 2003 through 2014 Dodge trucks, or have that same style as the OEM. So I would personally upgrade to that kit, since again, you're not going to have to get in here and worry about any kind of busted bulbs over time. So now that we've seen what it's going to look like, go over some measurements with you. I think this kit is nice. It does come with everything you need. Those things I suggested, like silicone sealant, butt connectors, those are optional. You really don't have to do that. It's just, if I was doing it, that's what I would upgrade to, so I don't have to mess with anything really ever again. All right, so our lights from front to back are about 5.5 inches long, maybe a little bit more with this chrome ring around the bottom. The distance between the mounting holes, center to center, it's about 4 1/8 inch apart. The width of our light at this widest point, it kind of tapers out to the top. It's about 3 1/8 inches. And then the height with our gasket, now this does have a little bit of squish, so it might not be exact. It's going to be about 1 3/4 inches. So between 1.5 and 1 3/4 inches tall. That's how big that light's going to be. The narrow end, just for fun, let's measure that. It's about 2.5 inches there. So I hope this helps you in deciding what to get for your Dodge truck, and that's going to do it for our look at the Pacer Performance High 5 Truck Cab Light Kit.